Hi, my name is Alexa, and my life has been changed by Jesus Christ. I'm going to share with you my two words. My first word describes my life before Jesus, and my second word describes him after and now. My first word is performing. Before Christ, I kind of felt like my life was an act. So let's start from the beginning. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents followed Jesus and they loved him, and so that's what they instilled in my sister and I. And so we grew up knowing who Jesus was, and that was a great environment to grow up in. We were always at church, we were going to Bible studies, we were volunteering, we were doing all that kind of fun stuff. And so when I was in fourth grade, I accepted Jesus into my life and I was baptized. And at that point, I kind of felt like my life was perfect. I didn't have anything bad going on. Just everything seemed to be going all right. And so as time went on, the whole church routine continued, going to church every Sunday, going to youth group, volunteering, and I could maintain this like perfect act of being the epitome of a Christ follower. I didn't curse, I didn't lie, I didn't do illegal things. I was a Christian. I was the Christian girl. That's what people knew me as. So that was the act that I was putting on so everybody could see. It's not that I didn't feel it in my heart because I knew I loved Jesus, but I knew it in my head and not my heart. And so going into high school, things got a little bit tougher. It was hard to be in such an environment that doesn't love Jesus all the time. So at the beginning of my sophomore year, I kind of started sabotaging my relationships, my friendships. I started living for the world. I was putting on the act of a Christ follower, but I was doing it for the approval of others to make sure everybody else knew that I loved Jesus, but not actually making sure that Jesus knew I loved Jesus. I wanted people to believe that I was perfect, that I had my whole life together, that I wasn't broken. I put up a wall so that people couldn't get in and couldn't hurt me, and so that I could always have my perfect little bubble surrounded me. But slowly I started losing my friendships and I became isolated and alone, and that's not a place you want to be. I was slowly losing this perfect bubble that I had created. um, I couldn't keep up with the performance that I had going on. I couldn't do this thing called life on my own. Thankfully, I knew that Jesus was the answer. I knew that he was the person to go to. I could find hope in him. So at the end of my junior year, after a life of trying to pretend like I was perfect and performing and putting on this act, and after 2 years of struggling with that image and trying to keep it up, I surrendered my life back to Jesus. I just prayed that he would come back into my life and take over. Um, and he knows that I'm not perfect, and he loves me, and he loves my not so perfect life. He's the only one to have lived a perfect life, and I'm just called to tell people about it. Living for Jesus isn't a performance, it's real life. It's a real, messy, complicated, sometimes hard life. But because he gave his life for us to give us eternal life, he died on that cross for us. Knowing that Jesus did that for me gives me an overwhelming sense of relief that I don't have to be perfect. I just have to love Jesus. That's all I have to do. I have to give my whole life to him, and that's awesome. So my name is Alexa, and I have gone from performing to relieved.